Yo, it's Yerk, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make real working security cameras like Among Us in Fortnite Creative. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to make your own working security cameras in any type of map. It doesn't have to be Among Us, but this tutorial will show you exactly how you can make Among Us cameras in Fortnite Creative. And if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor, drop a like and hit subscribe because we're on the road to 50k, and at 50k we are doing a 50,000 V-Buck giveaway and a face reveal. So if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, but let's get right into this tutorial. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is we need to grab some team settings and inventory devices. We're going to place them down and we're going to set the first one to team 1, and then we're going to set the color to red-orange. Click OK, and now we're going to place down the second one. For team 2, we're going to set it to team 2, and for the color, we're going to set this to orange. Place down another one, and we're going to set this one to team 3, and for the color, we're going to set this to gold. And the last one for this tutorial, but you can go on with more players and teams if you'd like, but this is just to make everything quicker and not waste your guys' time. So for the last one, we're going to set team 4 to apple green. Now that we have our team settings and inventory devices down, we need to set up some player spawn. Grab the new player spawn device and place it down. We're going to set one up for each team. So we're going to set one up for team 1, and when player spawned, we want to transmit on channel 150. Then we're just going to copy and paste it and change it to team 2, and we still want to transmit on channel 150 when a player spawns. Same thing with team 3, and same thing with team 4. And for as many teams as you have. Next, we need to grab the French fries from the devices tab, and we're going to delete the damage amplifier and the French fries because we only want the color changing orb. Open up the settings, and we want to set the color to team color, effect duration to infinite, and then we want to set the time to respawn to instant. And lastly, we need to set pick up when receiving from channel 150. Next up, we need to determine how many camera locations we're going to have, and for this tutorial, I am making Among Us, so we're going to have 4 cameras. We're going to start by grabbing out a perception trigger and placing it down. We're going to set the activating team to team 1. Then we're going to turn the trigger sound and trigger visual effects to disabled. We will also want to set this to not be visible in game. Then we're going to set when device sees a player, transmit on channel 1, and when device loses sight of a player, transmit on channel 2. Then we're just going to copy that perception trigger and paste down another one right next to it, and this time we're only going to change it to activating team to 2, and we're going to set when device sees a player, transmit on channel 3, and when device loses sight of a player, transmit on channel 4. We're going to do this again for team 3, and we're going to change it to when device sees a player, transmit on channel 5, and when device loses sight of a player, transmit on channel 6. Since I'm only doing 4 teams, we're going to do this one more time for team 4, and we're going to set it to when device sees a player, transmit on channel 7, and when device loses sight of a player, transmit on channel 8. So this is going to be all of our perception triggers for our first camera location, since I'm only doing 4 teams, but you would just continue that pattern if you were going to do more teams. Next, we need to grab the player reference device. We want to place this down, and we want to open up the settings, and we're going to set the color to team color. You can set the hologram animation to whatever you want. Then we're going to turn the show base option off, and then we want to set register player when receiving from channel 1, enable when receiving from channel 1, and disable when receiving from channel 2. Then we're going to copy this player reference device, and we're going to place it down again for team 2. This time we're just going to change it to register player when receiving from channel 3, enable when receiving from channel 3, and disable when receiving from channel 4. Do it again for team 3, and now we're just going to set register player when receiving from channel 5, enable when receiving from channel 5, and disable when receiving from channel 6. And I think you guys get it, but we're going to do this again for our final player for team 4. And we're going to set this to register and enable on channel 7 and disable when receiving from channel 8. Now our first camera is technically done. All we need now is a matchmaking portal. And if we're doing Among Us, then the first matchmaking portal code is going to be right here on screen. It'll also be linked down in the description in case you guys need it. But this is going to be for the reactor and security camera right outside the security room. Moving on to our second camera, we're just going to copy and paste our first set of perception triggers and paste them down. And this time we're just going to pick up right where we left off. So for us, we had 4 teams, so we left off on channel 8. So now we're going to pick up on channel 9. So team 1, and when device sees a player, transmit on channel 9. When device loses sight of a player, transmit on channel 10. Team 2, 11 and 12. Team 3, 13 and 14. And team 4, 15 and 16. Then we're going to copy our player reference devices again, and we're just going to open up the settings, and we're going to set register player when receiving from channel 9, enable on 9, and disable on 10. Moving on to the next team, we're going to set register and enable on 11 and disable on 12. Next team, we're going to set register and enable on 13 and disable on 14. And our last player, since we're only doing 4, register and enable on 15 and disable on 16. Now for the second camera, the matchmaking code is going to be on screen right now as well as down in the description, and this is for the Cafeteria engine room camera. Moving on to the third camera, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy the perception triggers, place them down again, and we're going to set it to team 1. We're going to pick off right where we left off at 16, so we're going to start with 17, and when the device loses sight of a player, transmit on 18. Team 2, channel 19, channel 20. Team 3 sees a player 21, loses sight 22. And Team 4 sees a player 23, loses sight 24. Do the same thing, copy and paste the player reference devices. And we're going to start with 17, so register and enable on 17, disable on 18. Register and enable on 19, disable on 20. Register and enable on 21 and disable on 22. And then register and enable on 23 and disable on 24. And the third camera, which is going to be the admin camera, the code is going to be on screen right now, as well as down in the description again. And now for the final camera, we're going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to copy and paste our perception triggers. We're going to set the Team 1 perception trigger to seize a player, transmit on channel 25, loses sight, transmit on channel 26. Team 2 sees a player 27, loses sight 28. Team 3 sees a player 29, loses sight 30. And Team 4 sees a player 31, loses sight 32. And again, copy your player reference devices, paste them down again, and we are going to start with the first one. We're going to set to register and enable on channel 25, disable on 26. Register and enable on 27, disable on 28. Register and enable on 29, disable on 30, and finally, register and enable on 31 and disable on 32. And the final camera code for if you're making an Among Us map, the camera by navigations, and the code is going to be on screen now as well as down in the description. So now we have all of our perception triggers and our player references device. Now we just want to arrange the cameras in the order that they are in Among Us. Just like this. Our next step is going to be to copy and paste down our player reference devices to the corresponding camera that they are next to on our little diagram here. So we're going to set the first set of 4 right here on the first camera, second set on the second camera, and the third set on the third, and the fourth one on the fourth, just like that. And now we should have something that looks like this. Our next step is going to be to take our perception triggers to the location that is shown on the screen. And you're going to take the first set, and we're going to set these right here because this is the first camera angle. Then we're going to take our second set of perception triggers, and we're going to take them and we're going to set them at the second location. We're going to do the same thing with the third set and set them at the third camera location. And finally, we're going to take the very last set and we're going to set these at the fourth and final camera location. Our next step is going to be grabbing this security camera prop from the retail row prop gallery. So we're going to search up for the retail row prop gallery and we're going to find this camera. And now we want to take this camera and we want to place it down at each of our 4 camera locations. So right here, right here, right here, and the final location right here. Next, we're going to want to grab out the beacons gallery. From this gallery, we just want to open it up and we want to grab this red beacon star right here. We're going to place it down and then we're just going to open up the settings and we want to set enable during phase to none. Then we're going to set enable when receiving from channel 149 and disable when receiving from channel 148. Then we just want to take this beacon and we want to set it on top of each of our cameras just like this. And then we just have one more step. Wherever we have this security screen in our map, we want to place down a mutator zone. We want the mutator zone to cover the entire room that this monitor is in. And we're going to open up the settings and we're just going to set allow weapon fire to yes. Make sure the size is enough to fill the entire room. Then we're going to set on player entering zone, transmit on channel 149, and on player leaving zone, transmit on channel 148. What this is doing is it is setting the red beacon to turn on to alert players that are in these locations that someone is watching the security cameras. So now if I start the game, you can see that once I walk in, the red beacon turns on above the camera, alerting players that I am watching the security cameras. Now if I walk out in front of an area where the security cameras can see me, you'll see I can show up on this screen. And if I walk away, I will turn off of this screen. And the corresponding color from our color changing orb is going to match the color that is on the screen. And if you want, you can turn show player names on as well. But now I'm going to run through the map and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I run through each camera. So coming up on the second camera, we're now visible on the second camera's screen. And as soon as we are out of its sight, we are off. And that is how you make working security cameras just like Among Us in Fortnite Creative. If this video helped you out, please do me a favor and drop a like and really hit subscribe because we are on the road to 50K and it would mean a lot if you guys helped us get there really fast to start off 2021. Happy New Year to everyone as well. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want, feel free to check out some of my other videos that are on screen now. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay up.